So from class A, B, C, and D, and E, class A to C are the ones you normally find within a network. So in your network, you see some computers having an IP address. And earlier on, I showed you the IP address of my computer, which was 192.168.1.100, which is a class C address. Now, for every IPv4 address that we use within a network, like I said, it's only A to C that you find within your network. But for any one of them you find it within a network, it will tell you the size of the network based on the class it falls in. So class A addresses are for big networks. So class A are for very big networks. So when I say big network, networks that would have around millions of IP addresses, the maximum you can have will be over 60, a little over 60 million IP addresses. For class B, we're looking at 64,000, so 65,000, a little bit over 65,000 IP addresses. So if you have a network that goes beyond 66,000, then you would want to consider a class A, and then you do something else, which is something that we'll discuss later, which is called subnetting. But class B, the maximum will be around 65, let's say a little below 66,000. Class C will be 254. So if you have a network size, which is very small, you go for this. Less than 200, you go for this. If it's more than 60,000, or let's say more than 200 IPs, then you go for this one, and you can break it down. If it's a very big network, you go for this one. And so these are the various classes that we have for, say, within our network. But apart from these three classes, we also have the last two classes, which are class D and E. So let's just touch on class D. Class D is what referred to as a multicast group addresses. So A to C, we mentioned earlier, are unicast. And so if I pick any number, so let's say 10.0.0.1, based on this number, I said that if I just look at the first number and it falls within that range, and it's falling within the class A range, so this is a class A address. And so for class A addresses, we can have a number 10.0.0.2 also, for another computer 10.0.0.3 also, till we get to a point where we have a number that will be 10.255.255. maybe 254, like this. Now, each number can be assigned to one device, whether a computer, a mobile phone, a printer, or something. You cannot have more than one number. So you cannot have more than one device sharing a class A, B, or C number. So class A, B, or C numbers are referred to as unicast because each number will represent just one device. Now, for class D numbers, we refer to them as multicast, as I mentioned. I just want to do a quick analogy with mobile phone numbers. So I've never seen two different mobile phones having the same number. Let's say 02111. I don't think there'll be any other mobile phone that will have 02211. It will be maybe 02112 or something, a different variation. So this idea is just like the class A, B, and C. So they are unicast. But let's say this guy wants to WhatsApp this guy. He'll just go to his WhatsApp, go to his contacts, look for that the number of this person. So maybe it's called A. Let's say a name, any name, so Aggie or something. So I'll just look for Aggie on my mobile phone, Aggie, on WhatsApp, and then the person's number will come up, and then I can WhatsApp that person, so it will just go to that person's mobile phone because the name is associated to that particular phone number. Now, another logic. If I create a WhatsApp group, once I create a WhatsApp group and I put Aggie, I put another person, let's say, assume there's another person in the picture, let's say Mike, and Mike is 0211, let's say 3. And I put Mike also in that WhatsApp group. Anytime I go on my phone, and let's say the WhatsApp group is called DevOps. Anytime I go to the WhatsApp group and I look for DevOps, and then I post a message, it doesn't just go to the WhatsApp group on my phone. It goes to Aggie's phone and it goes to Mike's phone. So the idea of sending one message and that message is sent to multiple people within a group is what referred to as multicast. So even though each device has a phone number, so like Mike has his phone number, 02112, With multicast, we're just saying that let's assume this is the multicast number 224. So once I create a WhatsApp group and I put everybody in that WhatsApp group, technically, if I send, it's like me calling this phone number, and it's not going to call just one person. The same way you can call a WhatsApp group, and then all the people in the WhatsApp group will receive the phone call. That's what we refer to as multicast. Everybody within that group will receive that phone call. And so a number, so basically what we're saying is that every person have their own phone numbers, but apart from their phone numbers, in order for us to talk to everybody at the same time, there's a concept of multicast address, which is more like saying they've all subscribed to the same WhatsApp group, and then they are all in the same WhatsApp group, and so they receive the same message. And that's what we mean by multicast.